Alright guys, welcome back to Copa Mexico 6. We got Uzzi versus MostMilk today. GMX player here on the Vikings in the orange trunks. Combi player here on the Malians in the yellow. So our Malians player, cheaper buildings, strong barracks units from feudal age, and longer lasting gold mines, very handy for him. While a Vikings player, warships, well that's fucking irrelevant on this map then, isn't it? Wheelbarrow for free, and stronger infantry from feudal. Bit of sheep scouting here from our players today. Not a bad idea. Get a little bit of extra vision. Brief idle time here for MostMilk, but he's going to get his sheep now. Really, it's not too bad as long as it doesn't interrupt villager production. That's not any more than about 3 or 4 seconds. So I wonder if we'll see an early barracks here, because it is not too bad of a map for early pressure. Reasonably open. Also not a bad map for trying to wall yourself in completely. Resources close to the back of the map there. So MostMilk just working on getting one of these ibexes back home. Is he going to scout out his opponent? Uzzi. Early barracks already. The Malians player, the Viking player, just ecoing up for now. So we're likely to see a couple of early man-at-arms here from Uzzi. Early militia, sorry. I'm saying man-at-arms. Fucking AoE 4. So MostMilk just walling himself in at the top side, protecting all these resources. Wall himself here at the back. Also protect all this pretty cost effectively. There you have that second gold mine and stone. Pretty safe. But he's going to have to get there first, because Uzzi's starting to pressure from the barracks with the pair of militia. He's not going for any more though. I think he can afford one more based off the gold, so he's just waiting for the food to be able to get it out. MostMilk just starting to wall in the mill, I was going to say the market. MostMilk needs to try and get this villager back here and actually finish off that little bit there. Is he trying to focus down a segment of the wall already? MostMilk able to repair through this. Or is he? Can he not click it because of the tree in the way? Here we go. MostMilk repairing it now, but he hasn't. I mean, he hasn't fully walled in this, so he's going to have to be careful. Uzzi pushes that. Uzzi aging up. MostMilk aging up as well at the moment. Uzzi not bothering to produce any more than the 2 man-at-arms. He's going to start gathering some gold now. Slowly working away at that palisade, but little to no avail. There is a barracks now for MostMilk, who's going to try and tower Uzzi. If he can get this off on the gold mine, this would really be to great effect. So the Dark Age rush versus the tower rush. Who's going to be more successful here? The double range follow up here for Uzzi. MostMilk is ready to start chipping away at those villages, I think. Uzzi, some really nice quick walling there. He's also trapped in his villages a little bit there. MostMilk pushed off the gold, not able to quick wall. Range going up. MostMilk, what was he? Having to get his villagers out of here eventually. He does lose a villager there. MostMilk, all that villager over rallying there. The range is finishing up Uzzi, and he can afford 2 archers, but no more than that. Well, MostMilk able to get back on his ranges now. I mean, on his gold now and start his range production. Skirmishes here for MostMilk. Uzzi got double skirm production though, as well. MostMilk up a villager at the moment with that nice early tower. Uzzi going to be able to pick off a villager of his opponents. Those militia not going to be able to stick around for a fight underneath the town centre. They can try and be a bit of a pest to the skirmishers and force them to have to run under the TC. Uzzi house at the moment. MostMilk trying to harass these gold villagers at the back of his base. They should be okay to take a fairly uneven fight there for the moment. We're just well microed to focus down individual man-at-arms. Oh, but MostMilk going to be able to get one more here. He's picked off another villager, really evening the eco score, but he does have a nice range ball, Uzzi. So MostMilk still having to make this pair of militia really work for it. Now it's only the single militia. Now MostMilk's other militia being cleaned up. Uzzi forcing his opponent to have to try and wall himself in. Uzzi's double range production. Really solid. He just has to be careful he doesn't run straight past the watchtower, because he'll take a bit of damage doing so. This won't be great for his units, but I don't think there's any upgrades on the tower just yet, so it's not going to do a huge amount. Just slow him down slightly. Skirm, V-Skirm, really going Uzzi's way here, and now it's Skirm and man-at-arms. I mean, Skirm and militia versus a spearman. So stables being added for MostMilk so he can clean up the skirms Uzzi adding a spearman of his own. So he start producing those. You just have to be careful he's not running them straight past the tower. Unless he's getting a good number of them. Skirm's going to be able to pick off a villager or two here. MostMilk has to try and mass up enough skirms and maybe even a couple of scouts to be able to clean up Uzzi's push here. He does have a scout cav on the way. Uzzi's able to nearly one-shot these skirms at the moment, so MostMilk having a retreat for the time being. He doesn't want to lose his scout cav. Wants to get another one or two maybe, before he really tries to intercept the skirmisher ball. Another skirmisher being taken down by Uzzi at the moment. He's down on Vils, but he's done a wonderful job at destroying MostMilk's army, and he should be able to get a couple of villagers now for his troubles. So this is rough for MostMilk. He needs to get enough to try and clean this up in the meanwhile. Well, that scout cavalry coming in on the skirms. There is some melee to take a fight here. And villagers denying the skirm ball as well. It's a bit of lost gather time here for MostMilk, so he needs to be very careful. He's not throwing anything away. A couple more skirms. Going to get picked off by the looks of things. The scout doing some great damage against those skirmishers. MostMilk eager to not let him go. When the skirms, the MostMilk going to be able to get the spear, but they will go down. Meanwhile, the scout, not a lot of health left on him. Another one coming in. Uzzi's just sending a lot of archers now behind this as well. Not even been producing any spears, I don't think. Just more archers. So them plus the skirmishers, and the fact that the archers don't have any minimum range problems, so it just makes the range ball that much more versatile. Once he's got both in enough numbers to just one-shot targets, it's extremely difficult to engage with scouts or with skirms. As you can see, they're just a little bit stronger against the scouts. Not quite so strong against range, but Uzzi will take that trade, because where does MostMilk go from here? He's got to try and take a castle age. But not quite enough in the bank. Here we go, it'll be on the way right now. And he's still just producing a couple of skirmishes, but Uzzi's been able to just smash out the archers. Right now, Uzzi still down a couple of villagers actually. Oh, sorry, he's had castle age going a little bit longer than his opponent. That explains that. Because Uzzi's now been able to really harass the fuck out of MostMilk's poor eco. He's got handed to MostMilk, he's been defending quite well. And now he's got to try and find a way to actually mass up the skirms. And some cavalry. Once he gets to castle, he wants to be able to produce some knights as well. Uzzi. Double range production is faring him so well at the moment. Picking up another couple of villagers. The skirms. It'll take a reasonable fight here. But I mean, it's 5 skirms versus 3. With archers into support. Uzzi, even still, even with the unit advantage, doesn't really want to dick around. Here we go, he's going to try and engage properly now. MostMilk's brought a couple more skirms. Here we go, waiting on crossbow upgrade, because it gives him a big advantage against the unupgraded skirmishers who are going to need their veteran upgrade. So he's getting castle age now, MostMilk. But he desperately needs to get that upgrade to his skirms. Getting Bodkin Arrow as well for increased damage. In range. Uzzi pushing with a bunch. A crossbow once again. MostMilk trying to get on wood safely. Just having to wall up this side a little bit with houses. The skirms. Their elite upgrade finishing up shortly, so they will be able to clean up the archer ball, but on the other side of the base, There's a bit of a problem. That other woodline is under a bit of threat. Skirm's just now aging up, so they've now got the range and damage. With the counter system, we'll really be able to clean up this army. There's knights in the mix here for Uzzi. MostMilk spent a lot of the game trying to repair, trying to flee. Oh, that tiger's actually slowly chipping away at the knight. It's not a lot of health though. Villagers able to finish off the houses, but they're so low now. Crossbow's finally being cleaned up at the rear there by MostMilk. He's managed to pick up a couple of villagers. He's just on the one town centre, but he's getting a second and a third. MostMilk, at the moment, just on the one town centre, adding a monastery. MostMilk trying to defend against the knight push, and I mean, he's mostly got skirms, so these guys don't deal the most damage in the world against these guys. He will be able to repair the house a little bit longer. He's going to drop a couple more villagers. Some of the skirms can deny the crossbows in the meanwhile. More of the knights brought in, but some of them are going to go down soon. MostMilk trying to hold on, dropping a couple of villagers, and behind this, as he's finished up that second and third town centre, MostMilk needs to respond with some of his own. He's repairing and managing to get his way through this. He's had a pretty big eco deficit now. Triple villager production over your opponent, or double over your opponent, is pretty big. So the worker count starting to grow, even though MostMilk had already taken a bit of a blow trying to repair that. Good army size now, but he needs something to be able to deal with the knights, because skirmishes alone not going to work. They are going to be quite solid against all these crossbows though. Oh, it looks like Uzzi's through. He's going to be able to raid the wood line. So we've got some house walls going up. And the skirmish is going to be very careful. Going to try and pick off as many of the crossbows. Even try and deal a little bit of damage to the knights here if they can. Ooh, and it's at a gap there as well. Oh, this could be very rough. Yes, it is. So MostMilk gonna have to put a house wall down. Try and bring his skirms around. Once again, Uzzi on the harass. Skirm's not the ideal unit to have in the face of the knights. Surprise. MostMilk didn't actually try and pick off that low knight at least though. More villagers. Forced to garrison here for MostMilk. Uzzi 68 to 39 villagers at the moment. It's looking rough for MostMilk because now his eco's half the size of his opponents. I mean, sorry. Ooh, my maths is off. It's nearly half the size of his opponents. Uzzi gonna take an engagement here. The knights not gonna do so well though, even though it is just skirms. Now that it is just skirms, or another knight being converted, and MostMilk able to clean this up momentarily. But where does he go from here? He really desperately needs more town centres. Doesn't really have the stone for them though, so he really needs to get more stone. Add these TCs, or he's going to try and add more ranges and just go for the push, but Uzzi's eco is going to be massive. At 79 to 42, we are closing in on him being doubled, being lapped in terms of economic size. It's a rough spot to be in because it really doesn't matter how cost effective your trades are there. You know, when you're at 45 villages to 90, it ends up being game over. It doesn't matter how good your micro is and how shit your opponent's is. Eventually they stop just wasting units underneath your castle and then multi-pronged attack you and kill you. MostMilk doesn't even have a castle or a second town centre just yet, and he's really investing in more of these archers for the minute. Actually, he's going Imperial Age. Doesn't yet have the stone to go for a forward castle or more town centers yet. He's opting to go for Imperial Age. Well, Uzzi's just continued to add knights from here. Uzzi's pretty content with sitting in Castle Age, I think. The village is going to get sniped here by MostMilk, but man, that's going to be a tough army for MostMilk to run from. So the knights fanning out. Only the one knight there for MostMilk, so it'll fall pretty quickly. Now, MostMilk finds himself surrounded. He's sort of backed himself into a hole here. So he should just be able to focus down the monk and then all the skirmishers here. So no knights being converted here, and now the skirmisher ball. There's even a couple of archers in the mix, so that's really costly for MostMilk. Uzzi's going to be able to clean this up for free pretty much. A couple of archers will go down, but not a single knight. That's really rough there for MostMilk. 93 villages to 45, so yeah, he is past double his opponent's work account, adding a fourth town centre now. Well, no second town centre yet for MostMilk. You see that? Bit of moonwalking there from that knight. Not good enough. Uzzi, a couple of idlers, man. Come on, put them back to work. What are they, on a smoke break? Only I can do that. MostMilk hitting Imperial Age. He's going to add a market now as well. Because he should really just be able to push with what he's got, I think. He probably doesn't even need to take to siege. In fact, MostMilk cancelling his market on the forward side. I think it in a more safe position, but it's still not quite going to be enough. Damage from those knights. Now the archers can actually reach the far side of the houses, but the markets, I suppose, have further build distance. MostMilk, another archer attack here with this palisade gate. He's able to slip this past Uzzi's main army, but I don't know if it'll be enough because Uzzi's got knights here to defend. He's got mixed range with skirmisher and archer, and it looks like Uzzi is through MostMilk's base. MostMilk cleaned up most of Uzzi's defenders here, so he might be able to do some damage in response. Abalesta finishing off here for MostMilk, but he's having to micro very carefully against the skirmishers, and Uzzi hitting Imperial Age. MostMilk, GG, game over.